Hello and welcome, Flames of War fans. This is a solo after action report based off of a scenario in the American D-Day book. This is called Shot in the Dark. This is June the 5th, 1944. We're in Normandy, France. This village here represents Saint-Combe-du-Mont. And what we have here, we have a Beach Defense Grenadier force that is deployed on the table, although not completely. Okay, I want to point out here for the Germans, we have a 105 millimeter artillery unit there. This is one of the objectives that the Germans must defend and prevent the Americans from grabbing. We have a 120 millimeter mortar platoon here, and it's kind of set off in different angles, and the story behind that is it is the night of June the 5th, and they're hearing planes, which, that's a normal thing, except there has been flak. So that's kind of alerted them. They don't know quite what's going on. Higher command hasn't really said anything. Okay, as we bring our camera over, you can see how this bridge neatly divides the table. You can see how our bridge neatly divides the table in half. Although the river here can be crossed, it just takes a little longer. That's all. But the bridge is the easiest way to cross. As we go on this side of the board, over here, we have the second objective that the Germans must defend. We have an 81 millimeter mortar platoon that's set up in different directions due to the concern. They're all in their little foxholes, which is cute. Now they all start the game pinned. I have a Beach Defense Grenadier platoon here, augmented with two heavy machine guns, one there, covering open area should the American paratroopers land. Now, to make things interesting, this is going to be a nighttime scenario because, hey, it happened at night. There are German reserves here, and I will go ahead and show those to you. And let's get a closer look at these bad boys. Here we go. And again, it's not showing everything, but that is everything the Germans have. So let's identify our pieces, shall we? Okay. We have our white Grenadier platoon here, our red Grenadier platoon here. Now, the red Grenadier platoon also has two HMGs, white platoon commander, red platoon commander, our CIC, 2IC. I have a 50 millimeter anti-tank gun platoon as well, and I have a pair of 75 short-barreled infantry guns with a commander. That's just only to mark which one would be the leader of that unit. So those are the reinforcements that the Germans have. Now, what do the Americans get? Well, when you have units that are highly trained, very tough units to begin with, and they're veterans, you're going to get fewer of them. Okay, so what we have here, we have the white platoon here and a blue platoon. That's it. Now, the white platoon is augmented with a couple of LMG teams, and that's basically it for them. And then, of course, your headquarters unit, your formation HQ unit. Okay, so that's what we have got going. I am working on reading up and prepping for the American landing, okay, which that will happen hopefully shortly. Stay tuned, guys. I'm posting this one up. Okay, well, we are at the end of the setup. So, for the American paratroopers, I only had one platoon dropping because I couldn't make the... If I had used two paratrooper platoons instead of the 3, I would have had a 61%. So I went with 1 platoon of paratroopers. And for the first time, they ended up dropping on this quarter of the table, and the LT ended up going off the table, which then, according to the rules in the British book, say it would go into reserves. Well, that kind of screws the game up because I only have 1 platoon dropping. So I had them repeat it, and I had the lieutenant drop here over by the bridge, and then everybody else came in without a problem. So that was good. The thing was that kind of alerted the artillery over here with our commander. Well, he's not the commander, but he spotted them, and they laid down some fire, and that pinned those guys. Meanwhile, the 120 millimeter mortars are still pinned. The Grenadier guys here are pinned, not the 81 millimeter mortars. They turned, fired, and took out the bazooka stand and one of the LMG stands. So bottom line is, here it is at the end of our setup, the end of German turn 1. So this was the setup and turn 1. Stay tuned. Bottom half of turn 1, dealing with the Americans. The paratroopers here were not able to unpin themselves, so they fired with half effectiveness on the German artillery unit. Failed. Had 1 American unit, 1 stand that could fire on the 81 millimeter mortar. No effect. That is it on the turn 2. All right. So we're at the end of German turn 2, and Grenadier platoon, they unpinned, but they didn't do anything, so they gained the on the ground benefit. Meanwhile, the 105s and the 81 millimeter mortars pounded again this poor hapless infantry platoon, and 2 stands were removed as a result. So you can see there's a missing here. So these guys are pinned, these guys are still ranged in. Yeah, it's not looking pretty. I'm hoping that the Americans will get a little bit better luck this next turn. Otherwise, this is going to be a really short game. So we are at the end of American turn 2. A lot of action has happened. The paratrooper platoon unpinned themselves. They went forward to here, laid some fire on the mortar platoon. No effect. The mortar here decided to fire onto here, and while they ranged in, they didn't do anything. So sadly, these guys did not get the pin. The paratroopers proceeded to assault the 120 millimeter mortars and wiped out 3 out of 4 stands. And that's our last remaining stand here. These guys did some consolidation, and that's been bloody because during defensive fire, these guys took out a paratrooper stand. So we're about a little less than half of the original platoon here, but we are going into the top of turn 3. Okay, we are at the end of the German half of turn 3. They survived the last stand. They could not unpin. These guys here fired on them, not inflicting any damage except the special gift of pinning. And guess what? Reinforcements are now on the way. Here they are. A Beach Grenadier platoon with 2 heavy machine guns ready to go, but they're not quite in the range of the paratroopers over there in the field. Okay, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. You take care. We'll see you on the flip side. All right, we're at the bottom half of turn 3, the American side. I only have one parachute platoon on the board. That's this one. They unpinned themselves. This guy stayed behind. These guys moved forward, laid a stream of fire on these guys. Every artillery piece took a hit. They all saved. It's very difficult. I mean, 2 of them failed their saves, but nothing like that firepower test, huh? It's kind of hard, got to admit. Then these guys went in and they jumped the 120 millimeter mortar and took that out. Oh yeah, the Americans rolled for reinforcement, but nothing happened. It is now German turn 4, and look what's coming over here. Oh boy, here we go. Okay, here we are, German turn 4. The Germans got reinforcements. The 2nd Panzer Grenadier platoon is coming down the road very nicely. Artillery managed to re-roll, remove the marker, put that in, and literally blasted these guys to kingdom come. So there's like 2 stands left of our paratroopers. The red platoon is coming in very rapidly. I'm afraid I'm going to have to call this one, folks, because there's nothing. I mean, the Americans didn't get any reinforcements, nothing on this. Starting out with 1 platoon was kind of hard, and maybe in retrospect what I should have done when I was over here, wow. Where could I go? Because these weren't blocking the line of sight. That was a hard call. Anyways, so I'm afraid the American paratroopers are done. They're fading off into the darkness, wondering where was the backup. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this. It was a relatively quick game. But there will be another day. There are other sticks that have hit the ground and are doing their thing. Just not here, just not this group here at Saint-Côme-du-Mont tonight, June the 5th. Well, I'm actually filming this June the 6th. Hey, you guys take care, and remember those guys on D-Day. Bye.